Okay, today we're going to be looking at the digestive system, and I thought it'd be fun to have you imagine something and try to think of what your answer would be. And it would be thinking about imagine taking a banana and eating it. How does that whole banana that you eat and chew up and swallow, how do you take that banana and then get it into your bloodstream? How do you get food or energy from that banana? As we go through this presentation on digestive system, we're going to try to come up with an answer for that, or let you at least get a better understanding of how that would happen. So let's jump into it. So let's think of the first thing that's going to be happening. Digestion is going to be happening in two parts. There's going to be something called mechanical digestion and something called chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion is the chewing that you do. So it could be chewing in your mouth, breaking down whole pieces of food into something smaller. Mechanical digestion can also happen in your stomach. So there's muscles that are going to turn and mix your stomach and kind of move and stir that food up. That's mechanical digestion. And then there's going to be another type of digestion that's also going to start as soon as you put food in your mouth, called chemical digestion. And as soon as you put something in your mouth, you start breaking down proteins. You swallow it, it goes into your stomach. And if you look at the image down over here in this side, you're going to have two types of digestion happening in your stomach in relation to proteins. You've got acid, and the acid's going to eat away and break down the food. And then you've got an enzyme called pepsin. And pepsin, what it does is it's really good at breaking up proteins into smaller, the building blocks of proteins, which are, you already know it, but I'll say it again, it's amino acids. So then your body can take those amino acids and use them, sending them to cells and using them to build new proteins. So thinking of the functions of digestion, or why is digestion important? It's going to help you digest food, then absorb it, and then put those food particles into your bloodstream. So you take large pieces of food, like that whole banana, you can't just stuff that into your bloodstream. You got to break it down smaller, and imagine it's getting so small it's going to pass through the lining and the cell wall in your small intestine, and it's going to go into your bloodstream. And then from your bloodstream, it can get carried to cells and used to build things at the cell level. The picture that I put over here is showing an example. It's just breaking it down in steps. You've got your small intestine. That's got a muscular layer surrounding it. As food travels through your small intestine, if you looked really closely at the surface of that internal wall, it's got these things called villi, and what they do, they're like almost like feathery structures, like you've seen like the gills from that crayfish that we dissected. Those villi, what they do is they increase the surface area in your small intestine, which allows there to be more area for food to transfer into your bloodstream, and more things to be pulled out of your intestine. So then here's the example of a electron microscope picture. So this is a real picture of a small intestine, and then these are the drawings of what it might look like. So those are the functions. Now let's think of the steps. You could even go through in yourself. You already know the steps, but we're going to go through it together in a more formal way. In your mouth, you've got mechanical and chemical digestion. And in class, we're going to get an example of that chemical digestion, because it's kind of cool working with starchy crackers. So mechanical and chemical digestion occur here. Proteins are they already start to get broken down by your saliva. So there's things in your saliva that will cut up proteins into their building blocks, which are amino acids. After you swallow, your food goes into your esophagus. So your esophagus is the tube that carries food to your stomach. If you've ever taken a big vitamin and swallowed it, sometimes you feel it as it goes down your esophagus. It goes from your mouth to your stomach. Then once in your mouth, any of that food that you eat is going to get mixed and turned. So again, there's muscles in your stomach. They're going to move and turn that food. and there's going to be acid, only just one acid. I have a little typo here, so put 2 acids. So those are the first 3 steps, from mouth to esophagus to stomach. Then we get into small intestine. So your small intestine, and this is like, I don't know, a funny science, I don't know which scientist decided to do this, but your small intestine is actually very, very long. And that's where most digestion occurs. And it's finished here. So food particles are absorbed and dumped into the blood. I gave you a little bit of a preview of the villi. So here's a cross section of your small intestine. As food travels through, it's going to cross over these villi, and food and particles are going to get pulled out of the small intestine and into your bloodstream. And then it's going to travel all the way through, it's going to snake all the way through this. And as it moves through, all those nutrients are being pulled out. Okay, small intestine can't do everything by itself. It's got some helpers. One helper is the pancreas. It adds enzymes that help digest food that's in your small intestine. Enzymes, again, are in the form of proteins. So they're enzymes. Those proteins can help digest proteins. They might help digest fats or sugars. They're going to help process some of the different macromolecules that enter your small intestine. Then you've got your liver. Your liver helps filter out toxins from your body. So that's one function of liver. But it also produces bile. Bile is something that helps take fats and it helps emulsify them. What that means is, if you've ever, thinking back to when you take oil and water and you shake it up and you get those little droplets of oil, oil doesn't want to mix with water. So what bile is going to do is it's going to help pull those fats into the water so they don't separate out and make it easier for your body to digest those fats. And then last but not least, you've got your gallbladder, and that stores small amounts of bile or bits of bile and then is able to release it into the small intestine. And then last but not least, you've got your large intestine. If you've ever seen the Magic School Bus, that's how, I'm pretty sure that's how they get out of the body when they're in that the Magic School Bus inside the human body. Large intestine, it absorbs water, so your body's really efficient at making sure it uses everything that it needs. So it takes all those nutrients out of the food. Anything that your body can't use gets compacted and gets ready to be passed out of your body. The water that's still there is useful, so that's pulled out so it can be reused in your body. So what do we get from digestion? A long time ago, beginning of the year when we were talking about cells, we talked about some of the major molecules, carbohydrates, fats and oils, and proteins. Those are examples of the nutrients that we get from digestion. So carbs, you could think of sugar. If you have a soda, those are simple sugars. Pasta has complex carbohydrates. Those are really long branched sugars that hold a lot more energy. Proteins are used to make proteins in your body. So your body will take the enzymes, chop up proteins that it takes in, and then uses it to build proteins that it needs for to build. It could be skin, it could be organs, tissues, or they can be used to make enzymes, and then the enzymes are the things that are chopping up stuff in your digestive system. And then you've got fats. They provide energy. So your body's going to take fats that you take in, break those up and use them to make energy. If you take in an excess of fat, so let's say you eat a lot of fatty foods on a regular basis, you're going to take those in and you're going to also layer them inside of your own body. So you have fat storage for later times in case you run out of food, and you can use those fat storages for energy. It's insulation. Fat provides insulation, so it helps keep you warm, keep your body warm. And it's also going to help to absorb vitamins. So if you take a multivitamin, the, the vitamins will get stored in the fat in your body. And then what do we get from digestion continued? You also get vitamins. So they're organic molecules that help your cells do processes. Example would be vitamin D, and it helps you process calcium. And another vitamin used in your body is vitamin K, and that's used for blood clotting. Another thing that we take in are minerals, and they're inorganic molecules needed to do cell processes. Example of this would be calcium is actually a mineral that we take in, and it's used in muscle function. And then another thing that we take in from digestion would be water. So 60% or more than 60% of your body is made up of water. Two-thirds of that is in your cells. So your cells are mostly made up of water. All right, and that's the end of digestion.